Hey everybody, Professor Snart checking in once again. Looking at our due dates here and where we're at. It is, what is it? Thursday, January 29th, an oddly windy but sort of warmish day outside. Anyway, okay, where are we at? We are zooming right along, as you've probably noticed. Getting closer to our first essay assignment, which is going to show up here in unit sort of 7/8 for our 8-week format. I've had to combine these two. It actually works in our favor. It works a lot better this way, as a matter of fact. But we are working, so we've passed Unit 4, the Flight Patterns unit. We are now in the midst of Unit 5, where we've done another reading of Alice Munro's short story Boys and Girls. Unfortunately, not one that I could include in our custom edition of the textbook, but it works so perfectly, as you can probably see if you haven't looked already, with the video material in there that I just couldn't let it go. So I've had to provide it as a PDF. So that's due coming up pretty soon, Friday, January 30th. We have another brief unit having to do with sort of the research aspect of the course, locating secondary sources, due Tuesday, February 3rd. And then we get into our first essay. And honestly, you'll notice that, again, partly because of our 8-week format, we do a lot of scaffolding of sort of exercise-related things, readings, close reading, discussion, database work, research stuff. Nothing that's really a full-blown essay until we get really about halfway through our course, and then we get the opportunity to do a first essay. You'll get feedback, of course, and then we get right into our final essay. So our course is kind of divided, maybe not in half exactly, but there's this early period of kind of building the foundation, and then we spend really the last half, let's say, of the course putting all the pieces together, let's say, in a couple of major essays that are really like the bulk of the course that we're doing. So what you'll notice is that maybe the feel of the course does start to change, particularly after Unit 6 here, where we're not doing so many different like readings or different quick little things, but you're doing more kind of extended, concentrated work on those longer essays. So the pace doesn't, I'm not sure it gets easier exactly, but it does feel different, not so maybe quick turnaround. Okay, so a quick look then at Units 5 and 6. Many people have already got into Unit 5. It's pretty straightforward. Again, the reading is provided as a PDF, unfortunately just not one that I could pick for our custom book. And then the video I'm asking you to watch from No Doubt. And then kind of an interesting way to think about the story, in terms of this much more contemporary or contemporary feeling aspect or artifact of pop culture, this song. And you'll notice some really amazing parallels, I think, between the content of the pieces, but also even the visual way in which the theme of the story or the theme of the song is presented here. And what you also might then notice is how, not visually exactly, because we're looking at a short story, but notice the way that setting is used in the story to, again, help communicate the theme, clearly a kind of gender roles type of theme. So you can almost think of the story as visually doing a lot of what the actual video here also does. Okay, and then the last little bit here is you'll see a quiz. I'm not sure I can scroll all the way down to it. At the very bottom here, it's actually not worth anything. All you're doing is making sure you've got a library card, which is in preparation for Unit 6, which I'll go into right now. So we've spent some time here and there on a number of the writing aspects of the course, the shape of the essay or paragraph idea, integrating quotations, thesis statements, writing process, that kind of stuff. In this unit, we're going to really focus on the research component of 1102, which is sometimes called the research course. So this is truthfully one of the easiest units that we have to do, but one of the most important to understand and get correct, because obviously you want to transfer what you learn here into the essays that you write. So doing it right here in this really kind of, easy, compact format prepares you for doing it well in the essay, where it really matters too. So you're doing a couple more readings from our textbook. Again, we'll be able to return to these when we write our essays. So we're in reading like Boys and Girls, in reading Gorilla My Love and Araby here, you're gathering material that you might use in the later essays. The assignment then is set up as a discussion board, and all you're doing is using the COD databases. Again, all of the information is provided here to find what's called a source or a research source, a commentary, a critical source, a secondary source, lots of different names, but it all points to the same thing about one of the stories. So maybe one of the most important things to realize or to understand here going forward is that for your essays, and of course for this assignment here, you always are going to use database material that is both relevant and appropriate. So we're never going to use just like Google to find things, or SparkNotes, or Wikipedia, or any of those general web sources. Even if you cite it correctly and all of that stuff, I'm asking you, or kind of requiring you, I guess, to use the databases. Okay, so relevant and appropriate, two different things. Appropriate, again, means that you've gone to the databases. I'm naming them here, the best ones to use. There's one called Macmillan Literature Plus and Literature Resource Center. You'll also see some stuff on integrating sources here. Okay, so the relevant or the appropriate part is just from the databases. The relevant part means that the source you find, and this is precisely why we use these databases, so I'm pointing you really strictly or specifically to these ones, is that a secondary source of the kind that we need for our essays is a direct commentary about the primary source. So if you're writing about, let's say, Boys and Girls, the short story, or Gorilla My Love, the secondary source you find is a direct discussion of that story. It's not something from your adolescent psychology textbook about child development, right? A kind of related theme, but it's not a discussion of the short story. So when it comes to sources, there's two things that are of utmost importance for us. First, appropriate, from the databases, from a literature database, and relevant, it's a direct discussion of the primary text, of the play or of the short story that you're talking about in the essay. So the guidelines are so kind of narrowly defined here. That's why I say this particular exercise is really, really straightforward and pretty easy. What of course matters is that you can then do that successfully in the major essays that we have as well, since the same rules apply there. Okay. All right, so as always, another little reminder here, you'll see this midterm survey pop up at the start of Unit 6. Again, just a little quick check-in to see how things are going, if you have any concerns or things that you really like about the course, so I can make sure I keep doing them or do them in future courses. So ungraded, anonymous, but it's good to get your feedback. I'm interested to know how you're doing. Okay, so we zoom along. Keep in mind that we are coming up closer and closer to our first essay. And again, the second really half of our 8-week term is devoted mostly to, you know, those longer projects, the essay writing. So the feel of the course does change a little bit. All right, any questions or concerns, be in touch with me, and I will talk with everybody soon.